Welcome back to the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit that button because today we're exploring some rare 5-cent coins from the USA. Stick around until the end, you won't want to miss it. Let's start with the first one. In 1979, the United States Mint issued a 5-cent coin that would come to be known as one of the most elusive and valuable pieces in modern American numismatics. To understand the significance of this coin, let's take a step back in time to 1979, a year marked by economic uncertainty, shifting cultural trends, and, of course, a few surprises from the mint. This story is not just about a coin. It's about a slice of American history that became much more than its face value. The 1979 USA 5-cent coin, like its predecessors, was part of the long-running series of U.S. nickels, but what set this particular year apart was a minor but crucial mistake, one that would go on to make this coin incredibly rare. It was, of course, not intentional. The 1979 nickel was supposed to be just another routine release in the decades-long production of U.S. currency. However, what seemed like an ordinary coin at first glance, with its traditional design, soon became the subject of intense interest for collectors, historians, and even casual observers. Before diving into the specifics of this particular coin's rarity, it's important to understand the broader context of the U.S. nickel at the time. The design of the 5-cent coin hadn't changed much in nearly 40 years. Since 1938, the coin had featured the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, on the obverse, and a depiction of his home, Monticello, on the reverse. This design, created by artist Felix Schlag, was one of the longest-lasting designs in American coinage history. But the 1970s were a time of transition. The decade had seen shifts in American politics, the economy, and society at large. Inflation was a growing concern, the energy crisis was in full swing, and cultural movements were challenging old norms. These were the same forces that would ultimately lead to the minting of a coin that would become an iconic symbol of both change and error in American coinage. The specific error in the 1979 nickel came from an oversight during the coin's production process. The U.S. Mint, which was responsible for designing and producing coins, had been working with a new set of dies for several years. In 1979, a change was made to the master dies used to strike the nickel. This change was intended to refresh the coin's design and help maintain consistency in the minting process. However, something went wrong. The master dies for the 1979 nickel, which were used to strike the new batch of coins, featured an unnoticed flaw, a slight misalignment in the die. This misalignment caused the coins to be struck with a subtle but significant difference from the norm. Most notably, the date on the obverse of the coin, 1979, appeared slightly off-center. To the casual observer, this may not have seemed like a major issue. After all, the U.S. Mint produces millions of coins every year, and minor variations in alignment or other small imperfections are not uncommon. However, to the trained eye of a coin collector, these small errors were highly significant. In numismatics, even the smallest irregularity can make a coin extraordinarily rare and valuable. And so, the 1979 misaligned die nickel was born as soon as collectors became aware of this error. They began to seek out these coins, eager to find one of the rarest examples. What they were looking for was not just a typical 1979 nickel, but one with this unique misalignment, which could range from a slight off-center date to a more dramatic displacement of the date or other features. This flaw made the coins intriguing and valuable. In the world of coin collecting, where rarity often leads to high prices, the 1979 misaligned die nickel became an instant sensation. However, the story doesn't end there. The rarity and appeal of the 1979 nickel also drew attention from the wider public, including investors who saw an opportunity to capitalize on the growing interest in numismatics. As the years went by, the value of these coins steadily increased. What had started as a simple minting mistake evolved into a highly sought-after treasure. The fact that only a small number of these misaligned die nickels were ever produced only added to their allure to understand just how rare and valuable these coins became. It's essential to look at the specifics of the coin's minting process. The U.S. Mint produces coins in large batches, often numbering in the hundreds of millions. Most coins that come off the presses are essentially identical, with only minor variations due to the wear and tear on the dies used to strike them. But in the case of the 1979 misaligned die nickel, the flaw in the dies meant that only a tiny fraction of the coins produced that year were affected. These rare coins, with their distinctive misalignment, are what collectors refer to as error coins. What makes error coins so appealing to collectors is the fact that they are, by definition, unique. Every time a coin is struck with a misaligned die or other imperfection, it represents an anomaly in the production process. A small, fleeting mistake that becomes a piece of history. The 1979 misaligned die nickel is a perfect example of this. Although many collectors might have been initially unaware of the coin's rarity, once the error became known, it quickly became one of the most coveted coins of its era. Over the years, as the market for rare coins grew, the value of the 1979 misaligned die nickel continued to rise. But it wasn't just its rarity that made it so valuable. The coin's historical significance also played a role in its appeal. By the time the error was discovered, the United States had already experienced several decades of change. The 1970s were a time of political upheaval, economic challenges, and cultural shifts. To own a piece of currency from that era, particularly one that had been struck in error, added an extra layer of intrigue and meaning to so. What exactly is the value of a 1979 USA 5-cent coin today? You might be surprised to learn that these rare nickels can fetch impressive prices. In fact, some of the most pristine examples of the 1979 misaligned die nickel have been sold at auction for as much as $115,000. That's right, what was once considered a simple, everyday coin, worth just 5 cents, has now become a true treasure in the eyes of collectors and investors alike. The high value of the 1979 misaligned die nickel is a testament to the world of coin collecting, where rarity, historical context, and the intrigue of errors can combine to create objects of remarkable worth. It also speaks to the enduring appeal of American coinage, which continues to captivate collectors around the world. The 1979 USA 5-cent coin is a perfect example of how something as simple as a minting error can turn into a valuable and highly sought-after piece of history in the end. The story of the 1979 USA 5-cent coin is a reminder that even the most seemingly insignificant objects can hold great value. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or someone just starting to explore the world of coin collecting, the 1979 misaligned die nickel is a perfect example of how a small mistake can lead to a big reward. So, if you ever come across a 1979 nickel with a slightly off-center date or other signs of misalignment, don't dismiss it as just another coin. You might be holding onto a piece of history worth much more than you ever imagined. In 1983, a seemingly ordinary coin made its way into circulation, one that would go on to become a sought-after treasure for collectors. This coin, the 1983 USA 5-cent piece, otherwise known as the nickel, has a story far richer than its humble face value suggests. Its tale begins long before it reached the hands of everyday Americans, deeply rooted in the shifting tides of U.S. coinage history and a series of decisions that would alter the trajectory of numismatic collecting forever. The 1983 nickel was minted during a unique time in the history of American currency. In the early 1980s, the United States, much like the rest of the world, was undergoing substantial economic shifts. Inflation had been a persistent concern, leading to a reevaluation of the materials used in coin production. The U.S. Mint was faced with a critical problem: the rising cost of copper, the primary component of the traditional nickel, was making the production of the coin unsustainable. A solution had to be found, and in 1982, the U.S. Mint introduced a radical change to the composition of the 5-cent coin. Before the 1982 overhaul, nickels were made from 75% copper and 25% nickel, a combination that not only gave the coin its distinctive weight but also its enduring luster. However, as copper prices surged, it became more expensive to produce these coins. As a result, the mint decided to alter the coin's composition, reducing the copper content and increasing the percentage of nickel. The new alloy mixture would consist of 75% copper and 25% nickel, but with a twist. The coin's core would be made of pure copper, while the outer layers would retain the familiar nickel. This new structure aimed to both reduce costs and maintain the coin's appearance, but it would come with unexpected consequences. Fast forward to 1983, and the first coins struck under the new composition were sent into circulation. Most people who held these coins probably didn't give them a second thought. However, as time passed, numismatists and collectors began to notice something peculiar. A small but significant detail that made certain 1983 nickels different from their counterparts. These were the coins that would spark intrigue and eventually drive a frenzy among collectors, the 1983 transitional era nickels. You see, some of these 1983 nickels were not made with the new copper-nickel blend at all. Instead, they were mistakenly struck using the old, traditional composition, the 75% copper and 25% nickel mix. This error, though subtle, was enough to catch the attention of coin enthusiasts. These wrong planchet coins were extremely rare, and they quickly became the subject of intense fascination. But what exactly was it that made these error coins so valuable? To understand why the 1983 transitional era nickels are worth so much today, we need to take a closer look at the rarity of the mistake. The mint had struck millions of 1983 nickels with the new copper-nickel alloy, but the number of coins struck with the old composition was incredibly small. These error coins were essentially produced by accident, and because of the stringent quality control processes at the U.S. Mint, very few of them made it into circulation. As a result, the ones that did were both highly elusive and highly coveted. Over the years, these 1983 nickels have gradually become known as some of the most sought-after coins in the world of numismatics. As with many rare coins, the value of these error pieces is driven by a combination of factors: their scarcity, their historical significance, and the story behind their creation. For collectors, owning a 1983 transitional era nickel is like holding a piece of history, a tangible reminder of a moment in time when a simple mistake turned an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. But what exactly is the value of a 1983 transitional era nickel today? Well, as of recent auction results and private sales, the value of these coins has reached staggering heights. The most impressive sale occurred in 2018, when one of these rare era nickels fetched an eye-watering $107,000. Yes, you read that right. A 5-cent coin, initially produced for mere pennies, sold for over $100,000. What makes this particular coin so valuable? To begin with, it's an extremely rare example of the 1983 transitional era, and its condition is impeccable. The coin, graded at an astonishing mint state 67, was one of the finest examples of the error ever discovered. The higher the grade or condition of a coin, the more valuable it tends to be in the world of numismatics. A coin in near-perfect condition is a true gem, and collectors are often willing to pay handsomely for the privilege of owning one. But beyond the coin's exceptional condition, there's the allure of the story, the fact that it was part of an accidental moment in U.S. Mint history. This is not just a coin. It's a tangible piece of the past, representing a unique intersection of economics, politics, and pure chance. The 1983 transitional era nickel tells the story of a pivotal time in American currency production, and that historical context only adds to its allure. For the average person who may have come across one of these era coins in their pocket change, the value might seem unimaginable. But for those who understand the intricate world of numismatics, the 1983 transitional era nickel is a true marvel, a coin that continues to captivate collectors and investors alike. If you're lucky enough to find one in your collection, it's worth taking a moment to appreciate its rich history and its remarkable value as we wrap up this journey into the fascinating world of the 1983 USA 5-cent coin. One thing is clear. This seemingly unremarkable nickel has a story that's anything but ordinary. From its humble beginnings in the mint to its accidental transformation into a rare and valuable treasure, the 1983 transitional era nickel represents the unpredictable beauty of coin collecting. And as its value continues to rise, one can't help but wonder how many more hidden gems are out there, waiting to be discovered. So the next time you're sorting through your spare change, keep your eyes peeled. You never know when you might come across a piece of history worth far more than 5 cents. In 1992, a seemingly unassuming coin, the 1992 USA 5-cent piece, or nickel, was quietly circulating in American pockets. At the time, this coin was simply part of daily life, one among many in the vast sea of U.S. currency. But what most people didn't realize was that this particular nickel, like a handful of others in history, would go on to become a rare and highly coveted prize in the world of numismatics. The 1992 nickel holds a unique place in American coinage history, not because of any dramatic changes to its design or composition, but because of a subtle error that would ultimately make it one of the most valuable coins of its era. Before diving into the specifics of the 1992 nickel, it's important to understand the context of the time. The 1990s were a period of economic change and technological advancement. For the U.S. Mint, the early years of the decade brought with them a sense of stability, but also a growing awareness of the evolving demands of coin production. The Mint was continuously working to improve its processes, streamline its operations, and keep up with the increasing volume of coins needed for circulation. Yet, even in this period of apparent normalcy, a small mistake in the minting process would have a lasting impact on the coin's future. The design of the 1992 nickel remained virtually unchanged from the previous decades. The coin featured the familiar image of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, on the obverse. His portrait, sculpted by artist Felix Schlag, had adorned the nickel since 1938 and became one of the most enduring images in American coinage. On the reverse, the coin depicted Jefferson's home, Monticello, a symbol of his legacy as a founding father and statesman. The design was simple yet dignified, and it had become iconic in the decades since it was first introduced. While the coin's design remained constant, the production of the 1992 nickel would not be without its complications. It was during this time that the U.S. Mint was experimenting with new techniques to improve the accuracy and efficiency of coin production. The Mint was using specialized presses and advanced machinery to strike coins with greater precision. However, despite these innovations, a rare and significant error occurred during the production of the 1992 nickels, a mistake that would not be fully recognized until years later. This error, though subtle, would become the reason for the 1992 nickel's immense value in the future. In the early stages of the minting process, a small number of 1,992 nickels were struck on improperly prepared planchets. A planchet is a flat piece of metal that is used to make a coin. In this case, some of the 1992 nickels were struck on planchets that were either slightly too thick or had been slightly misaligned during production. The result was a coin that exhibited an unusual feature, a slight double dip or doubling effect on the coin's obverse design, most notably around Jefferson's portrait and the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." At first glance, this doubling might not seem like a major issue. After all, most coins are produced with slight imperfections, marks from the die, scratches, or even minor errors in the strike. But this particular doubling was unique enough to catch the attention of collectors and numismatists in the years following its release. These error coins, though relatively rare, were considered valuable due to their unusual characteristics. As the years passed and the world of coin collecting evolved, The demand for these 1992 double-die nickels grew, and it's important to understand why a coin like the 1992 double-die nickel would command such a high value. The value of a coin is driven by a combination of rarity, historical significance, and condition. While the 1992 nickel was originally minted in vast quantities, only a small fraction of those coins exhibited the double-die error. These coins were produced in such limited numbers that they quickly became prized possessions for collectors, especially as the number of surviving examples continued to dwindle over time. For a coin to be considered truly valuable, it must also be in exceptional condition. In the world of numismatics, the condition of a coin is graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a perfect, flawless coin. Coins with high grades are worth significantly more than those with lower grades, and collectors are always on the lookout for coins that are in the best possible condition. In the case of the 1992 double-die nickel, the most valuable examples are those that are in mint state condition, meaning they show little to no signs of wear, with crisp details and a sharp, clear strike point. One of the most impressive sales of a 1992 double-die nickel occurred in 2017, when an example in near-perfect mint state 67 condition sold for an astonishing $93,000. Yes, this 5-cent coin, once worth, well, 5 cents, became a rare and coveted treasure, fetching nearly $100,000 at auction. The sale of this particular coin sent shockwaves through the numismatic community, cementing the 1992 double-die nickel status as one of the most valuable coins of the 20th century. But why would a simple mistake, one that occurred during the production of an otherwise unremarkable coin, lead to such a high price? The answer lies in the rarity and uniqueness of the coin. The 1992 double-die nickel is one of those rare instances in numismatics where a minor error, overlooked by most at the time, has become the defining feature of the coin's value. It's a testament to how even the smallest imperfections, whether intentional or accidental, can transform a common object into a rare and highly sought-after collector's item. As we reflect on the journey of the 1992 nickel, we're reminded of the unpredictable nature of coin collecting. What seems like an ordinary coin, produced by the millions and circulating in the pockets of everyday Americans, can sometimes hide a story of rarity, history, and value. For collectors, the thrill of finding a coin like the 1992 double-die nickel is akin to discovering buried treasure. And with each new discovery, the value of these coins continues to rise, as more and more people come to appreciate their uniqueness and the fascinating story behind their creation. So, the next time you find yourself with a handful of change, it's worth taking a moment to examine the coins closely. You never know when you might come across a rare gem, a piece of history that could one day be worth far more than its face value. The 1992 double-die nickel is a perfect example of how the world of numismatics is full of surprises. And who knows, perhaps the next great discovery is just a coin flip away. As we've explored today, the world of rare US 5-cent coins is full of surprises and fascinating stories. We've covered some truly unique pieces, including the elusive 1983 transitional error nickel, the rare 1992 double-die nickel, and even the coin we began with, the 1979 nickel, which is another often overlooked gem in the numismatic world. Each of these coins carries a rich history, a unique error, or an unexpected twist that has made them highly sought after by collectors. From the minting mishaps of the 1983 nickel to the fascinating doubled features of the 1992 coin, and even the 1979 rare finds, it's clear that sometimes, the smallest details can turn a simple 5-cent coin into a valuable treasure. If you enjoyed learning about these rare and remarkable coins, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with your friends who might also be curious about the hidden treasures that lie in everyday currency. And please leave a comment below, whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just starting out. We'd love to hear your thoughts on these rare finds. Thanks for tuning in, and who knows, maybe your next rare coin is just a flip of the pocket change away.